What's up, Fit Fam? This is Giovanni of Gio's Logic, your host of Fitness Junkies. I hope this show meets you in good health and spirits, and if not, I hope it inspires you to do something about it. Today, I have a really special guest. She's in from Colorado. She was here in Las Vegas for a show. It's really exciting to have her here because she's got so much going on, and she has so much experience in this space that I'm really excited. How are you, Gidget?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Good to see it. I didn't want to mess up your last name. How do you pronounce your last name?
I'm probably going to mess it up. Migliaccio.
Migliaccio.
Yeah.
And where is that from?
Italian.
I have an Italian first name and you have an Italian last name.
Exactly right.
Nice. How did that happen?
I got married and that's where I got it from.
Oh, okay. What's your maiden name?
Williams.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a lot easier.
Yeah,
I could have done that.
Scottish.
Awesome. So let's tell the audience how you got here. What's your fitness journey let's go way back to where you're from.
Well, I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, and I was an athlete from a very, very young age. I was a professional gymnast, and I was a track and field runner. And I wanted to build upper body strength for my gymnastics. So I was recommended by my coach to go to a gym. And I just started lifting weights. I think I was about 13 or 14 and fell in love with it. And literally have been doing it my entire life. I have just, without a doubt, every single morning, 5-6 days a week, I just get up and I go to the gym. I don't even think about it. And if I don't go, I just don't feel good about myself.
Yeah. And so Zimbabwe, that's South Africa, right?
Right below South Africa. Okay,
so a lot of turmoil in South Africa years ago. How was that with growing up there and getting to America, and what was that journey like?
Well, I was born and raised during the Apartheid regime, which was segregation based on the color of your skin mostly. They segregated us into 3 main groups, which were whites, Africans, and colored people. So I was colored, and colored just meant a mixture between white and black, along with Indian. I have Indian and I have Malaysian in me, Filipino. So, and then lots of other mixtures with the colored race. But for us, what happened was the colored community really came together. We're talking about millions of colored people. And we really bonded and developed our own communities, went to our own schools, did everything together. So for me, growing up as a colored person, and I know it's a derogatory term over here, in Zimbabwe it's not. The word colored's on our passports. It's the names of our schools, our neighborhoods, everything. It's what we were all, most colored people are very proud to be colored.
Right.
So us growing up within that mixed race community gave us a very strong sense of identity and a strong sense of unity. And I can look back on that experience right now and say that it was the most incredible, amazing experience ever. Some of my closest friends today are my colored friends that I grew up with in Zimbabwe.
Wow. So when did you come to America?
I left Zimbabwe when I was 20, and I went to London to work as a fashion designer. And then I went from London to America. Coming here just to work as a fashion designer, and then kind of went in different directions when I got here. Right.
So you were here in Vegas, and you did, was it the Patriots?
Patriots Challenge.
Nice. And you were saying before the show you didn't do as well, and there's so much that goes in that a lot of people don't realize with bodybuilding competitions, and you missed your peak self, I guess. Tell us a little bit about that and just the reason why someone, and we'll get to it, how well your portfolio is and what you do, you're still doing competitions, and why.
I know. Competing can be very addictive. It's a very competitive sport, and I like performing in sports that I control the outcome in. You know, I'm not a team player. I've tried a lot of team sports, but I'm able to push myself really, really hard if I can get into my own mind. But if I have to listen to other people telling me what to do or do what other people expect of me, I have a difficult time. So competing is perfect because when I'm in the gym, I'm in my own space, in my own head. But it's a very interesting sport because it's not just about going to the, it's a combination of so many things that come into play. Of course, going to the gym and lifting weights is a huge part of it. And then on top of that, you have to have a very, very disciplined way of eating as far as your diet goes. It doesn't stop when you get out of the gym. You know, when I would be doing gymnastics or running track, when I was done with that, I went home and I kind of not really forgot about it, but didn't really have to think about it.
Right.
Being a competitor is 24 hours a day.
Right.
It never stops. And then also because we're judged, you know, on our muscularity, but also our physical beauty, our femininity, so it's a combination of this muscularity and femininity put together, along with your stage presence, which comes from confidence. So if you have any insecurities or anything, they just manifest on stage. Just the way you move your eyes or the way you blink or the way you move, you have to have a lot of confidence.
Right.
So putting all that together along with genetics, you've got to have some good genetics on your side. And you've really got to be able to give it everything. Like whatever you have, you just every single day you wake up and you give it everything you have to try to look the best that you can when you step on that stage.
And then you've got to time it so that you're at your perfect peak right when the competition starts. And that's where you feel you went a little astray.
I've always felt like my glutes were very well developed, but I always feel like whenever I go into a show, bikini competitors have gotten very lean and brought their legs down a lot. You know, so I have big legs from running and from doing gymnastics, and my struggle has been to bring my legs down. So every time I go to bring my legs down, obviously it involves, you know, extra cardio, dieting, cutting carbs. I mean, whatever you can, you know, do to go into ketosis. And for me, I also want to try to atrophy some muscle in my legs.
Right.
And the last 3 shows, I've kind of struggled with. The minute I go into that dieting phase to try to bring my legs, I watch my legs get leaner, but I just watch my glutes and my butt just right along with it.
Right.
And I should say glutes. My gosh, my glutes right along with it. And I can see it happening, especially peak week when I'm getting down to that last 3, 4, 5 pounds of weight that I want to drop. And it's very frustrating because for this show, I looked great 2 weeks ago. And then literally 3 days before the show, I could see what was happening. And it was just literally losing my glutes. And that's one of the main muscle groups that we're judged on for my division, which is bikini.
Yeah. So I love the stories of post-show. What's your post-show jam as far as food? What do you have to have?
Oh, gosh. Well, this is me. I eat healthy all the time.
Okay.
And I mean, I maybe because I came from Africa and I went hungry a lot over there and I starved a lot. And I know what it's like literally to go outside and eat gravel and suck on it because I was so hungry and go without food. So I have a very difficult time depriving myself of any foods. So I try to eat healthy on a consistent basis all the time, like 80-90% of the time. And if I want to have a little cheat here and there, I just have like a few bites of chocolate cake or whatever I want, so that I never ever and I like cooking. I love cooking, so I cook with a lot of spices and a lot of curries and stews and soups and things like that, but healthy. So when it comes after a show, I don't ever feel like I have to go out and eat a whole bunch of food, because
pizza and donuts and all that stuff.
No.
So are you as scientific as you know your body fat percentage and where you live, meaning like between shows, what body fat percentage are you, and then showtime, where do you go down to?
You know, it kind of changes. I think for this show, I might have been at like 14% body fat. My normal body fat will sit at like 18 to 20%. Okay. I'm probably about 5 to 10 pounds off my show weight at any given time.
Wow.
Yeah, so I stay pretty close.
And that's actually the healthier way to do it than to go back up and then go back down.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder that way.
Yeah.
This particular last show, I was probably about 12 pounds from my stage weight. So
okay.
This show and then the show that I did before this, which is the two shows that I feel like I sacrificed my glutes for.
Now, you were talking about qualifying. You're trying to get your pro card?
I am a pro.
You are a pro?
Yeah, and
okay.
I'm trying to qualify for the Olympia.
Ah.
Yeah, there's a lot of girls out there trying to do it.
Nice. Yeah.
The struggle is real.
It's later this year, right? It's
the
December?
Olympia is this year. I had a pretty serious surgery about 3 months ago, and I was told I couldn't train for 3 months. I had to recover, and then I could slowly get back into the gym for another 3 months. And by then I thought, by the time I do a competition prep and stuff, I'm going to be going into like 8 months. I'm going to miss the entire season of, competing. And I had already missed the season last year because of COVID.
Right.
So I did my surgery in 6 months. 6 weeks after my surgery, I started training. And so when I went into anesthesia, it was for 7 hours, and I didn't realize, but it shut down my metabolism. And then on top of that, I feel like it just also shut down my hormones. So I was dealing with my thyroid issues, hormone issues, and, because I'm postmenopausal. So I was dealing with that along with trying to kick my metabolism back in. So that was a real struggle, and I only had 6 weeks to do it. And then, of course, from there, I had already committed to doing Patriots, which was another 4 weeks later. So I feel like now I'm kind of ready to kind of dial my physique in, but it just took a little while longer.
And so back to my earlier question, you have the lifestyle that can support this beautiful lean body. Mm-hmm. Why, and we'll get into this, but I know you have a lot of other things going on in your life. Why are you still competing? Because you love it?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I do. I just, it motivates you to stay in shape.
I agree.
It's something I do anyway. So for me, no matter what, whether I'm competing or not competing, I'm always going to eat healthy and I'm always going to go to the gym. So that's the cake for me. And stepping on stage is just the icing.
Nice.
It's just, I get to show off all the hard work that I did for years and never really got the benefit of. And now I get a little bit of praise for it. So.
Right. Talk to me about, I can tell just meeting you for a few minutes now, you exude confidence. But I know how being judged by your body can erode that confidence. And I know a lot of women get into these shows for the wrong reasons, get the answers that they don't want to hear from the judges.
Yes.
And then they kind of go into a depression. How do you deal with that? And do you help people, other women, deal with that?
I actually coach a lot of competitors. And that's the number one thing I struggle with a lot of competitors is their mindset. Like I can tell a winning competitor just based on their mindset. And I can tell someone that's going to struggle a lot and not do as well because of their mindset. You have to believe in yourself 100%, more so than any judge or any other person out there. I have a very, very high opinion of myself, and I would never, ever put myself down in a negative way or belittle myself in any way. The judging's subjective. They do a great job and they're very good at what they do. But just because I get first place or last place, it doesn't define who I am as an individual or as a competitor.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the journey. Every show I go to, I meet new people. I get a new experience out of it. When I come away from a show, it's always like, oh my God, what can I do better? What can I do? It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't win. Oh my God, I can't believe this. I don't look at the negative stuff because I don't have time for that. I want to grow with every experience in my life. Yes. And competing is just an experience for me, along with everything else I do. So for me, I've got to look at the positive, and I want to grow and move forward. I want to be a better, stronger version of myself. And I'm the only person that can give that to myself. So there's nobody that can ever put me down. I grew up my whole life in Africa because we were raised during the Apartheid regime. I was too black to be white. I was too white to be black. I was picked on. I was bullied. We were mistreated. We were second-class citizens in our own country. We just treated in a derogatory fashion most of our lives. But that was the thing I loved so much about the colored community, was our pride and our resilience and our ability to be united and be strong and be independent and be who we are in spite of what the government was telling us we needed to be. So I think that really kind of instilled a lot in me, was the way that I was raised. There was no time to feel sorry for yourself, because if you felt sorry for yourself, then you were just going to be a victim, because people were going to pick on you.
Yeah, that's interesting. You talk about how you're identified in that place where you grew up, and with all this, politically correctness now going on, especially in America, how do you identify? Like, are you a black woman, or are you like here in the States? Like, how? I know you don't. You could be, like you said, Asian, Italian, even with the last name. I'd have to guess.
I think it's very strange over here that, like, if you're a certain percentage black, you're considered African American. I remember watching Mariah Carey receiving it was Halle Berry receiving an Oscar for the first African American woman, and then they zoomed to her mom in the audience, and she was a white woman.
Right.
And I also remember Obama being raised by his white grandmother and them portraying him as the first African American man. I feel in some way it's kind of disrespectful to your white side of your family, and that you should be able to embrace both black and white family members, because at some point those two people got together because they loved each other and they had you. Right. And now you can only identify with one over the other.
Right.
And I think that's an unfairness. I could never, ever do that to my family.
Right.
So I am a colored woman, and I wish that they could find a race over here and name it. And I came up with the one multi. I'm a multi-race. Oh. So you can say, I'm a multi-African, which means you're a mixed race from Africa. I'm a multi-American. You're a mixed race from American. I'm a multi-Asian. And because there's always been this black-white thing, what multi means is you're a mixture between black and white. And then if you say Asian, you're black, white, and Asian. So it just gives people an identity. I see so many children, including a lot of my friends' children, being raised with no identity. Mixed race people in America don't have an identity. And I feel like we should be able to have some sort of an identity that embraces both our family members, the black and the white, and,
right.
and whatever other mixes we have in there.
I agree. I have a half brother and half sister, but both have white mothers. Mm-hmm. So it's the struggle, especially growing up here. Mm-hmm. You almost have to pick a side, and that's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you admit that you're mixed, what we're doing is we're uniting each other.
Yeah.
This thing of the other way, it's like we're still separating and segregating ourselves. And I feel like those barriers need to be broken at some point, and we should be uniting, and it should never be this definition of and separation of race, and that people that are mixed race should have to choose, one side over the other. And it's like legally put that way. Like if you have a certain percentage of African in you, you're considered African American. I know it stems from the days when they right. wanted the voting, and the more African people, more people that identified as African, the more people could vote. But I feel like those times have passed, and it's time for a change.
I agree. And I don't know if it's going that way.
Do you know that I read up about it. I think it's like 80-something% African American people have white blood in them.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how much it is.
Wow.
So, and then not only that, but there's so many mixed race people all over the world. Yeah. If we identified as mixed race, we would probably end up being the largest race in the entire world. They say the yellow race is going to rule. I don't think it's the yellow race.
It's the mixed.
It's the mixed race.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And we would have this one world of one culture and one race, because even the people that weren't mixed would want to identify with us because we
right.
Because they'd be like, oh my God, there's all of them there.
I love it. So you spoke about your fashion designing. Mm-hmm. I did a little Google search on you. You've got a whole basic empire in Colorado mm-hmm. going on there. What are some of the things that your life journey has taken you into? Mm-hmm. It's kind of all over.
Yes. So I like business opportunities, and I like to learn stuff, and I like to crunch numbers and see if things are going to make sense. I had a very successful career as a fashion designer, and I had a line of clothing, après ski wear, that I was selling in Colorado to about 250 stores. When I sold that line of clothing, I got some money, and a friend of mine came to me to invest in a nightclub. And I didn't really think about it. I just with Lance, my partner at the time, we just did it. So we ended up owning that nightclub and several other nightclubs. We owned an event center that was booked bands and DJs. And then we went on to own a gentleman's cabaret. Go figure. That was a lot of fun. So the gentleman's cabaret actually taught me a lot about people, because I was surrounded every single day we had over 1,000 competitors. I mean, dancers. Mm-hmm. And we had thousands of guys come through on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. We had one of the top most successful clubs, gentlemen's cabarets in Denver. And so we had this constant influx of people. So it just taught me a lot of people skills. It taught me just a lot about it's kind of like competing in a way. It's amplified. Life in general in a strip club is amplified, and competing is amplified when you step on stage. So we did that for several years, and then we sold it. From there, we went to invest in different businesses. We invested in an energy drink. We invested in tanning salons, real estate, a gold mine in Chihuahua, Mexico, which we still have.
Wow.
Then I started about 3-4 years ago, I started a company called Pro Gym Life.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So Pro Gym Life is a multi-vendor e-commerce platform, and it's health, fitness, wellness, and beauty. I took the 4 largest income verticals that do well even during a recession or depression. They're also the weakest things that when I'm going out there looking for e-commerce marketplace that sells these products, I feel like they're very weak in these products. So the first part of the e-commerce, I've literally done product development for 10 different lines of products. And I'm starting it off as a stage and competition prep website. So anything to do with stage, if you step on stage, whether it's hair, makeup, competition suits, heels, jewelry, whatever, fitness clothing, beach bikinis, all that kind of stuff you'll be able to find at this website. And then from there, I open it out to the public, because I wanted everybody in the fitness industry to be able to have an umbrella, so to speak, that they could come under and be able to open their own business with very little income and be able to monetize their exposure on the internet. A lot of competitors right now don't make a lot of money in the industry. There's not much money to be made in the industry. The money is going to come. I know so many girls that compete, and when they're done competing, all they've done is spend a lot of money.
Right.
And a lot of girls don't know how to open businesses. I've opened a lot of businesses and built businesses up from the ground and sold them for millions and millions of dollars. So I know how to take a business and open it and market it and promote it and put it out there. So this is a very big project. Literally, it's taken me 3 years of building the whole infrastructure of the back end of the website, because it's all artificial intelligence and it's got all the latest technology in it, and it's just built to run very smoothly and very easily for anyone to be able to come in there. And literally, you come in, you decide, okay, I want to sell a line of sports bras. And you just buy a few samples and you put up a store, and you're selling sports bras. And as you get orders, you can order more. And I'm showing people how to do drop shipping. You can go into some of these websites and you can literally pull their products onto your store. And then when you sell it, they ship it out for you, and you don't even have to invest a single dollar. So that's what it's all about. And it's to bring the health and fitness and wellness community together under one roof.
Kind of like an Amazon for fitness and wellness.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
That could be big.
Yeah. It will be big.
That sounds good.
It will be big. It's a combination of 5 different businesses that I've had for 10 years. And all I'm doing is putting them all under one roof, and then giving people the ability to be able to come be a part of it if they want to.
Oh, wow. I had to figure out an angle there.
Yeah.
During the COVID, I wrote my first book.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's not published yet, but that's the next step. And then I'll need to sell it. So
What's it about?
It's really about mindset, health, wellness.
Nice.
And connected to the COVID experience and how health and nutrition and all that is the most important thing. So kind of very topical. Yeah.
Well, I feel like health, fitness, and wellness is more important now than ever before, since COVID.
Yeah. So what do you feel about the bodybuilding. I know you have a lot of appreciation for the bodybuilding structure of, the NPC and all that stuff, but there's a lot of unhealthiness in that world. How do you feel about that?
I feel like there's a lot of unhealthiness just in general in the entire world.
True.
If somebody's got an unhealthy way of living, it's just going to manifest into the competing world. It doesn't necessarily mean that competing brought that out in them. It means that they had that in them already, and that's the choice that they made. Personally, I got into competing because I am a very healthy person, and my healthy lifestyle manifested into the way that I looked. My very first show that I did was I bumped into a girlfriend of mine in a gym, and she was like, "Oh my God, you look amazing!" And she's like, "Yeah," her name was Carol Semple. And she said, "You have to do my show. I'm promoting the show. It's a bodybuilding show." And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to do a bodybuilding show." And I went to the show, and it was literally 4 days later. And I won everything. I won open, novice, first time novice, masters 35, masters 40, masters 45, and overall and everything. And the only reason I was able to do that with 4 or 5 days of getting ready to step on stage is because my entire life had been based on a healthy lifestyle.
Right.
The only reason I can sit here at the age of, I'm going to be 53 this year.
No way.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And I'm competing with 20-year-olds.
57.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Ridiculous. Yeah. So the only way I can sit here and do what I'm doing right now is because I have taken care of the inside of my body. Everybody else has to make personal choices for themselves, regardless of whether they're competing or they're not competing. At the end of the day, my body's my temple, so I will not do anything that's destructive to it in any way.
And I'm sure you try and teach that to people that come to you.
100%. Yeah. I've had a lot of competitors. I've studied the body from the inside out, and I've studied nutrition for over 30 years. I like to know everything that I'm putting in my body or in my client's body and the benefits that it has, nutritionally, scientifically, medically, so it's very important. Nutrition's very important for me because I'm all about repairing and regenerating the body on a cellular level from the inside out.
Yes.
And then it just manifests onto the outside and the way that you actually look. And for me, feeling good is way more important than looking good.
Right.
But if you do it the right way, there's no reason why you can't feel good and look good.
Yes. And it's with the bodybuilding competition world, I wish that was more part of it. And I guess each person like you is bringing that into it. I just wish more people were like that. And combining that with social media, it can get really twisted, especially for young people looking at this. It's like, it can get frustrating. Because I'm about health and wellness and exactly I believe what you believe. So it's and young people are looking at this, and there's a lot of ways to get there. The healthy way is the way to go.
Yeah, it just depends. Is like how can I put it? You have to make, if you really want to be a long-term, like a competitor, you have to make competing a lifestyle. You can't make your lifestyle competing. Because what happens is you start doing things to get there faster. I get myself ready to compete, and when I feel like I'm close and I've made the progress that I want to, I step on stage. I did make a couple of mistakes where I picked shows and I committed to them, and then I pushed and rushed my physique to get there, cutting back on my calories and my cardio and this and going crazy, and felt like that wasn't the right path for me. So I would rather go in a little bit heavier than try to starve my body completely to get ready. It's like I want to be able to eat and I want to be able to do things, the right way. And I think it's all about the journey. It's like you have to get caught up in the journey. And if part of that journey is competing, then you just go with the flow and and you do it that way instead of this rush. There's always this rush to get there, and there's always this, when you start rushing and you start pushing yourself harder, that's when the complications kind of come in, I think.
So you spoke of Olympia. Your goal is to qualify. And then what? Win your division, obviously.
Yes. So obviously, you know, competing's fun, but I like to have a goal, you know, because it just pushes me more. And it's, so my goal is to qualify for the Olympia. I'm not sure, I have to check this 100%, but I'm almost positive I'll be the oldest IFBB bikini pro to ever step on the Olympia stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And, you know, like that would qualify me for the Guinness Book of World Records, which would be kind of fun.
Wow.
And one of the main reasons I wanted to do it was because I feel like, especially here in America, more than any other place I've lived in, a lot of older women don't get the respect that they deserve because they're an older woman. You get discounted automatically. You know, I've had people say to me, "Oh my gosh, you're so old. Why would you want to compete?" Or "You're too old to compete." And I'm like, what is your definition of old? Right. If you're looking at a clock and you're looking at a calendar and you're basing your life on that, then yeah, you can decide whatever you think I am, but I don't like looking at clocks, and I don't look at calendars, and I don't define myself based on what society thinks I should do as far as like an older woman should do. I shouldn't do this or I shouldn't do that. I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, and how I want to do it. And I don't believe that I'm going to be older tomorrow, which means I'm always young today.
Yes.
So how can anybody sit there and call me an old woman or an older woman? No, I'm not. I'm young today. We're all young today.
Yes.
Which means we're all going to be older tomorrow, and tomorrow never arrives. Tomorrow's always tomorrow. So guess what? We're all young. We're all young today, you know?
I love it.
So I like to break stereotypes like that. And I feel like I would be a really good example for a lot of older women out there that have been down on themselves, that do think of themselves in a negative way, that their egos have been kind of bruised because society doesn't accept them as a beautiful woman or a sexy woman, and looks at them as they're old. And then they start taking in what society thinks of them and they make it their own. You know, so I would like to say to women, life doesn't end. People go, "Oh, life ends at 50. No, life just begins at 50.
Yes, preach.
You know, you want to put on a scrunch bottom and a pair of high heels and go get on stage, go do it.
Love it. Love it. So how, you know, I'm talking about the bodybuilding competition and the judges. You mentioned that they do a really good job. Last time I was at the Olympia, I think it was 2017. And I went to the bikini finals, and I just couldn't tell like the difference. Like they're so on point. Everyone
comes in flawless.
Yeah. And it's like I understand the bit. I'm a personal trainer as well, and I haven't really trained anybody to go on stage, but I know there's a lot of politics involved, and the trainer that you're with or the coaches that you're with. And it sounds like you do it on your own, or do you have
I train myself.
Yeah. How do you feel about the politics of getting you that kind of buzz that you get with going with the Hughleys or whoever?
So, you know, I'm a businesswoman. So for me, politics is business.
Okay.
It's just business. And so if you're going to compete, you've got to strategically, you know, if you need to strategically align yourself with the coach because you think that coach is going to push you a few steps further, then that's what you have to do. If you think you're strong enough and you can do it on your own and you don't need that, then that's what you have to do. You have to make whatever decision you want to that you think is best for you and your career. And if you believe it, then it becomes your reality. If you believe someone's going to get you there, some coach is going to get you there, then that's your reality. I believe I can get myself there, so that's my reality. You know, I've thought of hiring other coaches and stuff, and I would love to for the camaraderie and, you know, the connection and being able to not do it on my own, because sometimes it's a little tough doing it on your own. I can't see what my butt looks like, for example. Right. And my coach might have been able to tell me, "Hey, you're looking a little soft back there." I can look in the mirror, but I'm in my back pose and it's not the same.
Right.
You know, so I have thought about going with a coach for that reason, also because I know how much I give to my competitors, so it would be kind of nice to kind of get something back. But yeah, you know, for me, it's just a business. You know, coaching is a business, competing is a business. The IFBB, NPC Federation, they're all businesses. Everybody's working. We're all working. And in some way, everyone's trying to get what they want out of the industry. Everyone's coming in and they want to try to get whatever it is they need out of it. You know, the NPC and the IFBB Federation are doing the same thing. They want to get what they need out of the federation. The coaches want to get what they need out of the federation. And in some way, everything kind of works harmoniously together. So it's this kind of give and take amongst the judges, the competitors, the promoters, the federations. So that's for me, that's politics. For me, politics is business. And business takes place in family units. It takes place, it's part of our life.
Yes. When you qualify, I want to get you through a PR machine, because I think it's like your story, like not only your story, but like the fact that how we're all, age focused, and that's another story, just to get you some hype, because I think it would be great to have a woman that looks like you representing over 50, like, and I believe that, we don't have to live by the number. It's a bad excuse. So now I'm really like pushing for this to happen.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of older women come to me, because I'm postmenopausal. So I can tell you, going through menopause, most women don't talk about it. It's like you're in a physical fight in the ring with your own body. Oh. It just does not work the way you think it used to work or the way you want it to work. And everything you try to do backfires on you. So that was a huge learning experience for me, learning to be able to figure out my hormones, my thyroid, because we have 5 systems in the body and they're all connected. Your transport system, your waste system, your hormone system, they're just all connected. And when one is off, they're all off. And you need all those systems to function correctly if you're going to take your body to the level that it needs to be to compete at the level that I'm competing at. And that's why a lot of older women or competitors don't end up competing later, because they can't get past the struggle with their body. But because I've gone through it, I can now explain to people, it's very easy once you know it, once you've gone through it and you know it. It's very easy to get past it. You don't have to accept that your body's aging. There's things that you can do to get past that and put your systems back in place to function correctly.
Yes. Preach. Your mindset is crazy on point. What is your spirituality? What is your other force, or do you have a belief in that?
I believe in a greater power. I believe that there's one God, and we're all children of that one God. I don't believe that God was ever a human being. I believe these were prophets sent by him to kind of preach the word, and they came in different forms as far as God or Jesus or Muhammad or all these different prophets. The thing with religion, when you start saying, oh, Jesus was the son of God, and they start saying this, it starts separating us again. And I don't like separating us. I like us to be able to be united, so that's an issue with me. There's so many wars that have been fought in the name of religion.
Oh yeah.
So I believe in spirituality.
Yes.
And I believe in a greater power. And I believe that greater power exists in each and every single one of us. That's the greater power. It's in us. It's not outside of us, and it's not up in the sky. And there's no devil down below in the ground. Those entities exist within us.
Yes.
So we can make and define whatever we want that to be.
Yes.
And it literally for me, it's about doing the right thing by people, having some sense of, Jesus and God and everything were put there to guilt trip us in so many ways. Oh, God's watching you, don't do that. Or, So for me, it's more about, no, I'm watching me. I know what you're up to, Gidget, and make sure that you're on point with your honesty, your loyalty, your integrity, your gratitude. Those are the things that are important. And all those are tied to connecting with other human beings. Whether it's my family or my friends or my business partners, I want to connect with them on a level that I feel good about myself.
I'm so intrigued now that I met you. I see myself in all the things you're saying, and I preach the same things. When's your book coming out? I mean, if not the book, the movie is next.
Okay, so I'm doing a documentary right now.
Okay.
It's called Pumping Glutes.
Love it.
I love the name. And it's a little bit of background of my story about my life, and it touches on that. But it's my competition journey of qualifying to get to the Olympia stage. It's like it can go in a lot of different directions. I can change the storyline anytime I want to. But right now what I'm doing is documenting my journey to the Olympia stage.
Love it.
And so that's the thread throughout it. But the story itself is about it's about, it's emotional, it's mental, it's educational, it's inspirational. And it's got a lot of things in there that I kind of really believe strongly in. But most of all, it's going to be inspirational, because I want anyone that watches it to come away from it feeling better about their life and feeling like, oh my gosh, if she can do this, I can do this. I can do so much more with my life. Or,
right.
Oh, wow, she did this, or she said this, or it's like I want people to come away from it wanting to watch it again, because I've lived a pretty amazing life. If I ever have the time to like tell you about where exactly I came from and how I was raised and everything, to be where I am today has been an incredible journey. And I've been so blessed in so many ways, and I've had so many struggles, but I've lived a life beyond my wildest dreams and accomplished every single thing and more that I ever dreamed I could accomplish in every way, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, spiritually, of course, sexually, because that's part of life. But those are the ways that I have grown in every way. And so I took times when I looked at myself and I said, where am I weak in those areas? And I strengthened them. So I'd like to be able to share that with other people, because I know that I wasn't always like that. And I know that the things that I've learned, other people can benefit from. I don't walk around depressed. I don't walk around feeling sorry for myself. I live every day with gratitude, and every day is a blessing for me. And I'm rich every day, and it has nothing to do with money. I see a lot of people walking around in I call it perpetual pain. Some people live in perpetual pain. Some people will experience pain through somebody else's experiences instead of their own,
Right.
So it's very, very important to really get to know yourself. And this documentary is about me as a woman evolving, and me showing people how you can do the same thing for yourself, empowering yourself, not disempowering yourself, lifting yourself up, not pulling yourself down. The story of competing is just a great little story to be able to tell it through,
Right.
But yeah, so and I have the ability to tell a lot of different angles of it as I'm competing, because it does bring up a lot of different topics within the competition industry that I want to talk about.
Are you gonna get footage and interviews from back home and things like that? Is it going to be that in depth? Oh, great!
It might be more than like one documentary. I'm going to film a lot of stuff. I go home to film, and right now I'm filming as much competition footage as I can.
Right.
I just want to kind of put together as much footage and then kind of put it all together. I want it to be a very beautiful cinematic documentary. I've spent a lot of money buying the best camera equipment out there. And, you met my friend Raymond.
Right.
So he's, been in the film industry for 30-something years. He owns a company called Blunt Image. And he's very, very talented, artistic, creative guy. So he's working with me on the project and doing a lot of the filming for me.
Nice.
So it's just working together with a really good group of talented individuals that want to create something that we can look back on and be proud of.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, inspirational. Like I see kind of one of my pillars of getting people like you on my show is that, fitness, like you said, is kind of the lifestyle that we live, but there's so much made up in it, like your spirituality, your mindset and all that. And there's so much that when you see a photo of you on social media, we don't get all the depth that you have. And your voice needs to be heard.
Yeah, and I put my social media account up because I had nowhere to put the competition pictures and stuff. So I kind of put it up there, and sometimes I kind of question it because people go into my social media account and then they think they know me. And that's like 2% of who I really am.
Right.
So there's just this really thing. So I've had a kind of like a little bit of a, should I take that down? It's like, I don't really like it because it really doesn't portray me as the woman that I am. I feel like I'm a very intelligent woman. I'm very diverse. I'm very educated. And, to put pictures of myself up in a bikini all the time on stage, it just doesn't encompass everything that I'm about. And in some ways it's just one angle, but it is up there now.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I'm actually working on a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, I just built my own studio.
Nice.
And I'm going to start filming videos. It's like all, again, inspirational, educational types of videos, stuff that goes a little bit deeper than just talking about nutrition and things like that. I want to talk about nutrition and I want to talk about training and all the things that I've learned, but I want to take it a step further.
So I'm so intrigued. I have what I call and teach, I call it a practice. What's a day in the life of you look like? Do you have like a routine that you do? What's a day in the life?
Pretty much I wake up in the morning. I don't like to use alarm clocks, so I want to wake up whenever my body wakes up. And I love breakfast. I got to have a good breakfast. And then I have 5 tiny little dogs, so I have to feed them, and I cook whatever I eat, my dogs eat. Like sometimes I do meal prep and I'll eat my dog's food. It's kind of funny.
Wow.
Because they get like turkey or ground beef, and they get grated carrots and broccoli and peas and green beans, and they get their oils, and they get their coconut oil, and they like eating coconut oil with a spoon. They get their vitamins and their bone meal, and they eat very healthy. So I won't give my dogs anything that I won't eat. So I make sure they have their breakfast, and I make sure I want to play with them and whatever. And then I get dressed and I go to the gym. And I'll be in the gym, 2 to 3 hours, depending on how long I'm there. Sometimes I have to do posing and stretching and things like that. I like to do the steam room and, the saunas. So I go to the gym, and then I come back around 1 o'clock. And that's when I sit down and I work on my business, which is Pro Gym Life. And I'm building the whole back end of the business right now. It's going to go live in probably about 2 to 3 months. Okay. I'm going to launch it. So I'm building the whole back end infrastructure of it. And also all the product development that I've been doing, it's all, labeling everything and packaging and all sorts of stuff that goes with it. And then from there, you were talking about books. I was actually writing 5 books at one time.
Wow.
I know, right? Because it's so many, I have so much information and knowledge. It's hard to just separate it into one book. And it just becomes too much. I'm writing a book on being raised in Zimbabwe during the Apartheid regime as a mixed race person. And I'm writing, and and I'll tell you that because that's another story, but I'm also writing a book on health, fitness, and wellness. It's all health and nutrition. And a few other books, a historical book on Africa, and then just a bunch of other books. Okay. I have another one. It's just 101 things that I wish I'd known when I was younger. So it's literally just kind of documenting things that I wish I'd known when I was younger, but then going into breaking it down into why I'm saying those things. And in those things, I talk about sexual abuse, physical abuse, poverty, and I go into like a lot of the really deep, dark things that most people don't want to really talk about. And I discuss them, and I break down what I went through personally and how I got over it. So it's kind of one of those books. But yeah, so I am writing. I do like to write. My writing is a journey. I'm not in any hurry to finish anything. I'd like to leave a legacy behind, which is, my experiences and my education. I'd like to be able to leave it behind in books because I think it'll be helpful for people.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So work on your business. You eat a second meal in there after the gym?
I eat before I go to the gym. After I come back from the gym, then I don't like to do 5-6 meals a day. I like to do like 3 or 4 meals a day, or maybe 3 meals and a couple of shakes or something. I'm not like someone that can eat a lot. I have a very tiny frame, so I don't like to eat a lot. And then I'll just keep working. I literally will work till about midnight on my books. Yeah, I'm very. I also make competition suits. So if I am going to relax and watch TV, I can't just sit there and do one thing. So I might be working on a competition suit, and at the same time I'll be listening to YouTube or some inspirational, educational type of video, or podcast or whatever. Or if I'm doing that, I might be watching TV, but I'm on my computer and I'm doing something else. It's like I'm always doing 2 or 3 things.
Right.
Even when I'm cleaning, I might be cleaning and studying French or studying Spanish.
Right.
And I've done this my entire life. That's why sometimes people go, how did you learn so much? It's because every single day I wake up and I learn something new. And I love learning about like just how the brain works, how people function, how people don't function. Just everything, any topic. I take a word and I go study it. I want to take a word like narcissist and I'll go study it. I'll take a word like excited. What does it mean to be excited? What does love mean? What does emotions mean? Sometimes we use all these words so freely and we don't really know the true depth of the meanings of the words. So I really like to take a word and break it down and study everything around it. So so I'm constantly studying, constantly learning. If I'm in my car driving, I want to be listening to something. If I'm vacuuming in my house, I want to be listening to something. And so education it's the most incredible thing anybody can give to themselves. And I'm not talking about education like history and geography and math.
Right.
Education about just life, about people, about experiences. Just learning from each other is like the best education that we can get, whether it's, somebody watching your podcast or reading a book you wrote. Just knowledge, passing knowledge back and forth.
Yes. So you have a lot going on yourself, things you own. I can't see, brands should be lining up to sponsor you, to bring you in as a spokesperson. Do you have any sponsors?
I've had some sponsors ask me if I'm interested in sponsorship, but the thing is I have all my own products.
Right.
So I want to work with my own products. I don't want to go work and build somebody else's company and brand.
Okay.
I have to have control over, because then I might be lazy and not do what I'm supposed to do. But with my own brands and my own company, I can work 6-7 days a week, and I'm a workaholic. I work all the time. So I want to be able to invest in myself and my brands and my businesses. And all the businesses that I'm doing right now, I strategically chose them. I decided the next chapter of my life, I want to do what I love doing. So what I love doing is health, fitness, wellness, beauty, and it's literally fashion, film, and fitness, if I break it down. So fashion, fitness, and film. So I started the media company. And then, of course, the fashion is like my competition suits. I have a line of fitness apparel, yoga apparel, beach bikinis, cover-up. So I have all that with the fashion stuff. And, the fitness stuff, I do competition prep. And I have my own personal journey where I'm working as a competitor.
Right.
And then the YouTube channel will be very fitness-driven. So I'm working on all what I love to do. So when I wake up in the morning and I work, I don't feel like I have to work. I just feel like I want to.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like a job because
Right.
I get so excited because I work on something and then I watch it come to fruition.
Right.
So I'm very fortunate in that way, but I'm also fortunate because I made that decision to do that and I chose to do that. And I've been very lucky. I haven't worked for anyone since I was about 23 years old.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
In Zimbabwe, I used to be the designer for Mr. Mugabe and his wife, Mrs. Mugabe, and Mr. and Mrs. Muzenda, the deputy prime minister, and his wife, and a lot of very powerful political and wealthy people. I started sewing when I was about 6 years old. By the time I was 12 years old, I was making dresses and stuff for the neighborhood. By the time I was 14, 15 years old, I was making full-on bridesmaids dresses. By the time I was 16, 17, I was making wedding dresses. And I have the ability to put a piece of fabric on the floor and just cut it out and make a beautiful dress. I'm very talented as a designer.
Wow.
So that's always been a part of my life, the whole creative. I love being creative. But yeah, as far as this business that I've picked right now, it's always been part of my life. But I was always taken aback by the hospitality industry. That's kind of where I got, kind of sucked into. And then this was more of a hobby.
Right.
So I've kind of reversed it now.
Nice.
I've got the stuff that I love doing is what I get up and do every day.
And so you mentioned your fashion, fitness, and what was the other?
Fashion, fitness, and film.
Film is the best place to find you on the new Pro Gym site? Like where do we find all this stuff?
Yeah. So if you go to like Instagram, I'm going to put everything, you can go there and you can see the links in there.
Okay.
I am going to be working on the YouTube channel and building it. So this year I'm going to be doing putting a lot more stuff of myself out there that's business oriented as opposed to just competition stuff.
Okay.
So the Pro Gym Life website, once that goes up, that'll be there. And I'll probably be building a personal web page with my own name so I can kind of control my image and my own name and everything. So yeah, within the next 6 months, there'll be a lot more stuff that I'll put out there of myself.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
This has been an incredible conversation. I'm inspired, and I don't get inspired that easy. You're an amazing woman, young woman. I can't wait to see what's next. And thank you for making the time.
Oh, thank you.
Because you're heading out soon.
Yeah, I am. I leave tomorrow.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, everyone listening, you've got to find this woman and follow her. and get inspired by her. So until next time, Fit Fam, I'm out.